Hello and good morning. It is Friday and I thought let's do a pick a card. But before we get into the cards, I'll give you a quick astrology update. Today the moon is in Cancer and we are finally kind of coming down off of a really intense energetic vibration that the whole collective was experiencing around the time of the eclipse. The new moon solar eclipse on Monday was basically the peak, but also the final of two eclipses in a row. And so this has definitely been a time of change, transition, major shifts, major breakthroughs, maybe even breakdowns or breakups, depending on your situation. And so with the moon in Cancer today, it's almost like finally getting a deep breath, finally having our feet on the ground, but there's emotions to deal with. So you might find that today you are extra sensitive. Maybe you're even weepy. Maybe you just kind of want to be by yourself and process your emotions. And you know what? You do you. Whatever your heart needs today, definitely tune into that and hold space for yourself. Today is not a day to expect a whole lot. You might be nursing an energetic hangover. You might be feeling pretty overwhelmed or pretty spent at this point. So as the week wraps up, what I asked the cards today was, what do we need to hear right now? Or if you prefer, now that the eclipses have passed, what's coming next? What sort of change has been ushered in? What sort of new chapter is coming through? So before you pick a card, I encourage you to take a couple of deep breaths, center your energy, and then choose the pile that you feel most drawn to. Pile number 1 is a red tiger's eye. Pile number 2 is cherry blossom agate. Pile number 3 is pyrite. And pile number 4 is blue apatite. So remember to take a few deep breaths, choose whichever pile you feel most drawn to. And if you chose pile 1, the red tiger's eye, your card for the day is the 8 of Wands. And in this deck, the Everyday Witch deck, the 8 of Wands is represented by a tornado. So what your message is and what is happening now that the eclipses have passed is a time of great change and transition. The 8 of Wands represents a time of quickening, when it feels like all of a sudden the floodgates have broken loose, things are just happening. There's definitely an energetic current happening, like quickness. You might feel rushed, you might feel overwhelmed, you might feel like a whole lot is happening all at the same time. This is a great time for you to practice being the calm in the storm, finding your center as much as you can, avoiding drama, trying not to get too attached to one thing, because this is a time of things not really sticking around for very long. Just kind of going with the flow. What you can expect is breakthroughs. You can expect big shifts happening and continued momentum moving forwards. If you've been waiting for a final result, this card also represents kind of like the arrow just about to hit its target, that something is about to happen or something that is happening is about to reach a peak or a conclusion. So this is a time of quickness and quickening. Practice meditating. Practice self-care and practice being grounded as much as you possibly can. And maybe even narrow down your priorities, really prioritize your to-do list so that you're not really trying to deal with too much stuff. Stick to the most important things and maybe let go of the rest as much as you can. If you chose pile 2, the cherry blossom agate pile, your card is the 8 of Cups. This is a time of endings, closure, and walking away from anything that has been draining you, anything that feels maybe toxic or unhealthy, or maybe anything that's just kind of reached a natural conclusion. Now, in the 8 of Cups, we see these stacks of cups, and it's almost like the top cup is missing, like there's something incomplete about the situation. And this definitely represents a situation in which maybe it's hard to walk away. Maybe it's hard to accept that something has come to an end, but you've got takeaways. You've got things that you've learned. There are lots of ways in which you've grown. And this card represents that moving on and coming to terms with things being done, making peace with endings, That's where you're going to find your pathway moving forward. Listen to your heart. Go for self-preservation. Don't fill anybody else's cup if you just don't have the energy to fill your own. This is a time of looking after yourself and pursuing that which makes you feel alive, that which makes you feel nourished. So don't be afraid to walk away. There are better things coming. It is time to let go. It is time to release. If you chose pile 3, the pyrite pile, your card is the Hanged Man. This is a major arcana card that represents surrender and coming to some sort of awakening or realization. In this card, we see a representation kind of like Houdini, who was an escape artist. We can see that this person has, like chains around them, but they've also got the key. So this card represents feeling stuck, but almost like there's a reason that you're stuck. There's something that you can see about the situation. You can change your perspective. With the head being at the bottom of the card, it means try not to overthink things too much. Prioritize your heart. Prioritize your gut feeling. This is not a time for major decisions. This is not a time for major changes. This is a time for reflection, surrender, going with the flow, and trying to look at your situation from another perspective in order to reach a realization, awareness, or some sort of deeper understanding about why things are the way they are. And then after you reach the realization, you will be ready to move on. But no major purchases, no major decisions, hands behind your back. It's about thinking and reflecting. Well, not overthinking, but reflecting for sure and feeling your way through. If you chose pile 4, the blue apatite pile, your card is the Page of Wands. This is the beginning of the fire element. The page is like a child. They do not have a mode of transportation like the knight does, and they do not have any level of mastery like a king or a queen does. This is like a child who is curious, but I love how the artist did this card because this person is considering following their curiosity, but there is something crossing their path. Sometimes I think that this is a chameleon. Sometimes our desire to fit in makes it so that we don't pursue our passions. We don't follow the things that we really, really want to because we're worried, oh, what if I look stupid? Or what if I look weird? Or what will people think, right? So this card is an invitation to think about where and why you are hesitating. Are you holding yourself back because you're worried how you'll look? Are you worried about pride? Are you worried about failure? Or are you hesitating because you have some sort of a gut instinct that it's just not the right path for you? Only you know the difference, but definitely if you're holding yourself back because you're worried about what other people think, that is an invitation to move forwards anyway. As you tap into and tune into that which wakes you up, fire is like electricity. It's the fire in our belly. It's the spark of being alive. Make sure to nourish your own thirst, your curiosity, and do what makes you happy. But if you find yourself hesitating, be sure about why. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'm Erin, I'm Queen Bee Tarot. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.